In this video lesson, we will learn about CDP reporting and all important aspects of CDP reporting that you should know, you should be aware about, you need to know, right? After going through this lesson, I'm confident that you will build an understanding of CDP disclosure process and CDP uh, reporting process, so to say. And if, say, for example, you're tasked with the CDP reporting, CDP disclosure process for your organization for the first time in future in your job, maybe you will be able to navigate and work on it. So that's the objective of this series of video. And we have a link here to the CDP website. And when I share the presentation with you, you can get the link. You can just click on the link and go to the website and explore it. Also, simpler way is to just go to Google, search it, and open and explore the website. We will also explore the website in the next video, right? Now, the first question that comes to our mind naturally, pretty naturally, is what is CDP? And the answer to this question is that, CDP is an organization. It's an international, it's a global organization, a non-profit organization, right? Like NGO. So um, they don't work for profit. They get funding from different other organizations. They get grants from governments, the partner organizations, and they also earn some money through disclosing fees. So the disclosing organizations, they have to pay a fee, right? A majority of disclosing organizations, mostly corporates, they have to pay a fee to disclose their information. It's interesting, isn't it? Right? So you are disclosing your information for others' needs, and you have to pay the fee. But yes, we'll see what those cases are, and they're not important for our study, right? And the third point, so formerly it was known as Carbon Disclosure Project. That's what CDP stands for, but now they call themselves just CDP. It's a change in name. And third point is important. It's the world's largest independent environmental disclosure system. And don't confuse it with a reporting of a framework like a GRI. It's an independent, it's an environmental disclosure system. It's not an ESG system, it's an environmental. So only E pillar of ESG, you can say. They're collecting only environmental information, right? But up to an extent, just to add one point here from my side, up to an extent, you can compare it CDP with this ESG rating agencies because they have data platforms. They also collect the data for the companies, and then they have users who use that data to build their thesis to make their investment decision. And same is the case with the CDP. We will see, but the major difference in ESG rating agencies and CDP is other agencies and CDP is how they collect the data. In CDP, organizations, reporting organizations, or disclosing organizations, we call them in the language of CDP, we call them disclosures. They upload the data, they enter the data in the CDP, platform or the tool, or you can say the spreadsheet or whatever provided to those organizations, whatever be the process. Organizations update their data, they upload the data, they enter the data. So it's a primary data coming right from the organization, coming directly from the organization. Wherein in the case of rating agencies, ESG rating agencies like S&P, MSCI, CRISIL, more often than not, I would say 99% of the cases, I haven't come across any primary data, completely primary data collection. They mostly collect secondary data. So if the data is publicly available through, say, the ESG reports, annual reports, any other public disclosures to the stock exchanges, the websites, information available on the website, their teams collect the data. Say S&P, take S&P. Their team will collect the data from the organizations, and then they sell the data and other insights and the ratings that they prepare, that they develop to the users, which are the capital market players and investment banks and those kind of things, right? So the chain, or you can say the flow here is the same, but the process is completely different. Plus, these rating agencies, they are for profit. CDP is non-profit. Rating agencies, they collect mostly ESG, all three pillars of data. CDP, while or at the other hand, collect only environmental data. So these are the major differences. Now, CDP has a, like any other organization, they have a mission, vision, and purpose, right? Now, if we go through the mission, it says to empower companies, cities, states, and regions to measure, manage, and disclose their environmental impacts, right? Through your environmental data, you're disclosing your environmental performance, your environmental impacts, risks, methodologies, and governance and your structure, these kind of data. But the key here is to understand that it's CDP is not only applicable to these companies or the corporate sector, it is also applicable to cities, states, and regions, which are mostly, the government sector, the public sector, right? So more than around 1200 cities, city councils, through their city councils, they upload the data, they report their data, disclose their data. Now, vision says a transparent, a sustainable future, balancing people, planet, and profit, supported by transparent data. This is the keyword, right? To increase the transparency, data is directly coming from the disclosing organizations, along with the evidence, along with the supporting documents, and it increases the transparency and accountability, right? And the purpose is to provide information that enables investors, companies, and governments to make earth positive, or positive decisions, earth friendly decisions, sustain environmental friendly decisions. So from the purpose, we know that the users are investors. Investors can include your private equity, your banks, etc. Then companies themselves, so your supply chain partners, right? So if you're say, a supplier to some big companies, they may request you to provide the data, and they can be the users. They may want some transparency, they may want some data, and also governments, right? Now we have some key statistics to show how big CDP is, right? So 31.5 thousand companies requested the data, and we will know what request means. And 24.8 or 24,800 companies, or around 25,000 companies, they disclosed the data last year, right? And so this is massive. This is massive. This covers up, more than 60% of the world, of these of total market cap, global market cap. Right. Now we'll come on to what does CDP actually do. Environmental disclosure. So CDP provides standardized questionnaires and frameworks, or frameworks means scoring frameworks, how you can score. So what CDP does is they provide the questionnaires to the companies who want to disclose their data, or who are requested to disclose the data. Then the companies will disclose the data. How will they disclose the data? So the questionnaires have just questions and some guidance. They have a supporting document which is called scoring methodology document, right? And it provides complete guidance on how to disclose your data, how, what does quality data mean. Say they have four bands. So if you're providing, say, information just about which is just good enough for the disclosure purpose, you will be rated low, or you will be scored low. And there are some best practices to follow if you want to score to the highest level. And we will study about that later in this video, right? And the questionnaires are pretty standardized questionnaires. They're very comprehensive. They filled by the companies, every year. And so scoring methodologies we have already discussed. Now scoring and benchmarking. CDP evaluates submissions using a scoring system, right? So you've got the questionnaire, you filled all your responses, you've submitted your responses, taking guidance from the scoring methodology, how to frame the disclosures, what to disclose, right? And what are the supporting documents that you can provide. So all that submission you have done now as a disclosing company. Now CDP, they have a scoring system, scoring framework, which ranges from D to A. D is the lowest, A is the highest, and it depends on the quality of your disclosure, the length of, or the, you can say, the completeness of your disclosures, what score you will get, or what band you will come under. Will you come under D? Will you come under A? All, disclosing organizations, they have the aim. The aim is to come under, or to, reach the A band. Okay. Now, influence and outreach, over 24,800 companies they disclose, representing more than two-thirds of global market capitalization, right? So there's a major investors, major companies, MNCs, which are disclosing through CDP. Now we have CDP data landscape. So I just included this graph just to show you in numbers how massive is CDP reporting, how massive it is. And if you go to LinkedIn, you go to, the job profiles, most of the job profiles, they mention about CDP reporting. And it's a standardized process. If you know CDP reporting, you know CDP reporting, right? There's no, not very complicated process. It's just that, right, you need to be involved in it as one of the people who's contributing, or who has done it. Or even if you have awareness of the process, a detailed awareness of the process, you are good to go, right? So investors assets, so we will first go to companies requested. So there are 20 around 30,000, more than 30,000 companies. On the previous slide I mentioned, they requested other companies to disclose the data. These are the requesting companies, and we will see what it means. Then we have 24, around 25,000 companies which have disclosed the data. So these are the two statistics. Then third statistic, investor assets, 120 trillion dollars. Dollars is missing here, but this is 120 trillion dollars. See, India's economy, India's GDP is 5-6 trillion dollars, in that range, right? Around 5 trillion, $4 to $5 trillion. I think this is 120 plus trillion dollars. This is the size of, or you can say the market cap of the companies, combined market cap of the companies which are disclosing through CDP. And purchasing power, these are the purchasing power of these companies. If you combine the cash, and there's some metrics, but these are all financial metrics, right? Now, before I move on, I just wanted to, discuss or explain some commonly used terminology, some commonly used terms in the CDP language, so that you also uh, uh, are familiar, and have an understanding, and you can understand the process better, right? Once you know these terms. So first term is the requesters. And requesters are the stakeholders, mostly companies, who ask you to disclose via the CDP portal. So what these, who these requesters are, they're investors, they're the lenders, means the banks, they can be your supply chain partners, they can be your business customers, the big customers, the B2B big companies, right? And they are CDP partners. They are one of the, CDP members, sorry, they're one of the members of any one of the CDP networks. So CDP has different networks, right? CDP has a network of supply chain companies. They have a network of finance companies, which include banks, investment banks, other banks, right? And these companies are the CDP members. And most of these companies, they fund CDP also, and there may be some fees also included. I'm not sure about that, because that's not our area of study. But these are the members of CDP. They have the access, they have the license to use CDP requesters portal. They have all the insights in that portal. They have data of all the companies, all the insights, right, at their disposal for their usage. And these companies, these big companies, they can request other companies to disclose the data. For example, just take a company, a very big European giant, say, let's take an example of Nestle, Right. Now, Nestle has a very big investor in the form of, say, a bank, a global investment bank, JP Morgan Chase. It's a very big camp, or Vanguard. It's a big investment bank or a private equity player. And this is just an example. I'm not sure if this relationship exists in real or not, but yes, this is just an example. So Vanguard or JP Morgan Chase can request Nestle to disclose its data because it's a big, it's an investor in that company. Or even if it is not an investor currently, it, maybe planning to invest in Nestle. So it first wants Nestle to disclose its last year's data, environmental data, before it can, make its decision. Right. So these are the requester companies. They are the members. They have all the insights, all the disposal of data, all the data's disposal at their end, and they can request other companies to disclose their data. Right. And these companies have all the data for all the companies so that they can make their investment thesis, their investment decisions. So these are the users also. Now, disclosers are entities, mostly, companies or city councils or regional council, which is the public sector. We will not study about the public sector. We will just study about the companies that submit environmental information via CDP's platform each year across one or more of the following themes. So they have three themes, three major themes. One is climate change, second is your water, third is your forest. Now they have introduced, an year back or 2 years back, they introduced plastics and biodiversity. That's a new theme that they introduced, but it is still unscored because it is a new theme. Companies are not may not be very mature. They may not be, in disclosing the data, in having the data. So they're giving CDP is giving the, all the disclosing companies a time to get mature. So what the deal is currently, that the companies can, if they want, they can disclose the data, but it will not be scored. It will not be taken, to calculate the scores. So it's a preparation phase. Maybe it may happen that, next year, next to next year, it will also be started to, getting scored. Right. So these are the three major themes: climate change, water, and forest, on which, you have to, or any company has to provide their data, disclose their data. Now, there are two types of disclosures. One is the requested disclosure. Requested disclosure, if, say, for example, the case of Nestle and Vanguard, Vanguard requested Nestle to disclose their data. So this is called a requested disclosure. Self-selected disclosure, if nobody is requesting you, you want to volunteer because you want to improve your brand, that you are disclosing your data as per CDP, or CDP. You have CDP scoring. It adds value to your brand. It adds, the value in, say, to your business among your peers, in investor community, that you are, you have volunteered to disclose your data through CDP. So these are the two kinds of disclosures. Right. Now, what we are going to do is we will see about CDP questionnaire. But before that, before going to CDP questionnaire, I just want to discuss, more about these 2 points, last 2 points, right? So, for example, I'll give you a case. How do you know, or how will you know? Say, for example, you are, from the sustainability team of any company, right? Nobody has requested to you to disclose your data. You don't know about it, whether somebody has asked you to disclose your data or not, because you're supplying your finished products to different companies. You have taken loans also. There's many investors, and you have not disclosed CDP data in any of the previous years. So you are new to it, right? How will you know? So there's a process to it. If you had disclosed earlier to CDP, then your company already has a CDP account, and you get an email from CDP that your company is requested, has been requested by such and such company, such and such requester to disclose your data. And CDP, every year publishes a list also of the companies which are being requested by other companies. Then, you can simply log into the portal, which we will see. You can simply log in to the portal and see the details of the disclosure. But if it is your first time, right? If somebody is requesting you for the first time, you don't have a CDP account, they don't have your email ID, right? So how will you get an email? Then generally, CDP sends an official email to to your company's email, which is publicly available. So investor relations email. Obviously, if you are, say, publishing annual report, you have a website. In the contact us section, you mostly there is an email. Almost, almost all the cases, they pick up the email, official email, and they send you the mail, right? And then you have a CDP portal. Once you are requested, they create a portal specifically for you, in which there are basic details about your company, name of the company, logo, then your address, then other basic details. You can check it if these are right, because they have some data providers, data partners also, right? So they have those kind of details once you log in. Now, questionnaire is also provided by the requester. They request you to disclose your data, and they will provide you the questionnaire. Obviously, the questionnaire is from CDP, but they select the questionnaire from the, say, one of these three themes, or two of these three themes, or all three of these three themes, based on your materiality. And it depends mostly on the sector. Say, climate change is mostly mandatory. Mostly mandatory means it's the, if you are requested by any other company, this will be there. This module will be there, climate change. But say if you are a company which uses a lot of water, maybe a chemical company or a pharmaceutical company, then you may have to disclose on water security module also, or in this area also. Then if your products are dependent on forests, maybe such companies like Nestle, or other agricultural companies, then forest will also be included, and it depends on the sector you're operating in, and your materiality. Right. So this is what I wanted just to disclose, or just to show you, or just to talk about. Now, coming on to CDP questionnaire, these are the set of questions designed for organizations to report their organization environmental data. So these are simple. There's a set of questions which we will see later, and they change almost every year. The questionnaire changes almost every year, right? So it may happen that new questions are added. It may happen that some questions are deleted. It may happen that in any question it is repeated from last year, but some other sections are added, or something is added or deleted. So any kind of change may happen, right? From 2024 onward, what CDP has done is they have integrated their three different questionnaires. So earlier they used to have three different questionnaires: one for climate change, one for water security, and another one for forest. Now it is an integrated one for all the three. For all the three areas, you will get one questionnaire, which is called Unified Corporate Questionnaire. Right. Now, the structure of 2025 questionnaire is that it is divided into 13 modules. Module number 1 to 6 and module number 13, they're cross-cutting modules. They ask you to, talk about your, uh, general areas, your governance structure, your strategy, your risk management process, other generic details. So you can just compare it with GRI 2. GRI 2 is also a generic or a universal standard. It asks you to provide your generic details. Even BRSR has a section which asks you to provide you your generic details, your company level details before they go into topic specific details, right? So every reporting framework has that. CDP also has this in the form of modules. Then modules 7 to 11 are issue specific or topic specific. For example, module number 7 is climate change. Then you have other modules based on forest, water, etc. Module 12 is sector specific, which is mostly is applicable to financial services sector. But the most important module is are these module first and the seventh module, because most of the companies they have to report or they have to disclose on as per module 7. Then module 13 is about the sign off and your final submission. So this is how CDP questionnaires are structured. Okay. Now, each question they have a defined scoring methodology. In the questionnaire, you will have questions, and each question has a defined scoring methodology which is available in the scoring methodology document, right? And you can provide your answers as per the guidance. If you have, your strategy is mature, very mature, you have all the documents, you can provide leadership level of disclosures, then you will be awarded as A in the band. If you are just starting, you just have the numbers, right? You don't have policies in place. We will see about that. Then you will be reported as D, but this is very subjective, right? So the CDP questionnaires for corporates, we have full questionnaire on climate, water, and forest, unified now currently. And for SMEs, also they have a questionnaire, which is a simplified form of this full questionnaire, right? So fewer questions, simpler questions, scoring methodology will be relaxed. But yes, all the companies, big corporates and SMEs are covered. Now we have CDP scoring methodology, right? So scoring methodology, they use a scoring system. CDP uses a scoring system used to evaluate a company responses across, all three areas. And what they assess as per their scoring methodology is the quality of the responses, the completeness of the responses, and maturity of companies' environmental data and the actions what they are taking. So all the aspects they take into account. They have CDP scoring bands, which is a 4-band scoring system for each of the themes. Now, score band D, disclosure. If you're making just a disclosure, you have either D minus or D. You disclose the basic data, right? And what it indicates is that you responded, but you may have limited completeness or depth, right? You don't have the complete answers. You have just satisfied the deal level, and we will see how it works. But yes, it depends on the depth. It depends on these four qualities: quality, completeness, maturity, and actions, right? So you can be awarded D. Then the next uh, say improved level is awareness, which is awarded as C minus or C, which means that you understand, at least you have the data and you also understand the impacts and what risks you have, right? What are the risks in your business for your company, which means you have the awareness of these issues. Then management, B minus or B, most of the companies are, they come under this band, that you also have policies and actions, which means you're working on that. you know you have the data, right? You understand the risk, you understand your impacts, and you have policies. It means you have started working on it, you have built the policies, and you are taking some actions also. And leadership is you show all the best practices, whichever, as per all the guidelines, all the regulations, reporting frameworks, you show the best practices. So if you have, say, targets, climate change related targets on greenhouse gas emissions, your targets are already approved by science-based targets initiative. Your means SBTI. So your SBTI approved targets. You have a transition plan in it's working. You have all the documents, everything which satisfy all the CDP level criteria. Then you will be awarded as a leadership. And fun fact is only 2% of the companies which last year disclosed the data as per CDP means 25,000 companies. 2% of those 25,000 companies, which means only 500 companies, around 500 companies, they were given this A uh, scoring or A band. Right. Now, what will happen, say if somebody has requested you to disclose your data, but you haven't disclosed, right? You missed the deadline, you haven't disclosed, then what will happen is you will be given the scoring as F, right? You haven't disclosed anything, you've left it blank, you haven't even responded, then you will be given blank. So this is how the scoring system under CDP works, right? Now, uh, examples of scoring. So, yes, there's one example that I have taken on emission reduction target. So, this is just a basic example. This is not a CDP question, but yes, I just want to explain you through a topic, which is your emission reduction targets, right? So, you report a target, but your response is such that you have reported a target, but it is vague and it doesn't cover or doesn't talk about scope one or two. It just say greenhouse gas emissions, right? Which is counted as a disclosure. Yes, you have made a disclosure, but you will get the lowest rating here, right? So the D or if it is if it just means one as the lowest number, lowest score, you will get one, or you will fall in D for that particular area, right? Now, if your response is such that you have described a clear target for scope 1, 2, and you have a base year also, you have the numbers for scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, which means you have awareness of your scope 1 emissions, scope 2 emissions, and your base year, which means you have some planning, right? You are working on the plan. Then the target is science based. It covers major emissions. You have performance data. So, you have matured along the way. Now you are talking about your science based targets, although it is not approved by SBTI. But yes, you have those targets in place. You have the methodology. You are working on that. Your management is aware of that, which means you are implementing and you're going towards that direction, which will further improve your score. And once the target say is SBTI approved, which shows the best practice, and SBTI approved target means SBTI has formally, verified your targets, your methodology, your target setting process and everything. They have approved it. They have given you the approval letter, which shows your leadership and best practice, and you will be awarded A. So this is how you can improve, and it is a continuous, I would say, a continuous process. So if an organization is reporting for the first time, it may fall under D because it doesn't know what is needed, right? Or yes, it will have access to questionnaire scoring methodology, but its methodology is not, or its data is not very much mature. So that organization may get a D for the first year. But then the organization will have complete next year to improve its scoring. It can work on policies, it can work on actions, targets, scope one, scope two. It can define the process, started working on the process, started measuring the performance and all those things. And maybe next year, who knows, that the same organization can come to C or even B or even A. Getting to A is very, it's not very easy for a new organization, but yes, getting to C or B, right? So this is how it's a continuous process, and it happens. Now I just want to take one example to be, very clear to uh, build your understanding to the next level, right? I have taken a question from module number 7. This is question number 7 of module number 7, and it is denoted by 7.7. All the questions are denoted in this way 7.7, say 1.1. If there's a subsection 1.1.1, like this, you will find all the questions in the questionnaire. So it says, the question says, what were your organization's global cross scope 2 emissions in metric ton CO2 equivalent? It's a simple question. They're asking about your scope 2 emissions, right? And in the reporting year. And this is tried to replicate the table. I've taken it from CDP questionnaire for 2025, and it asks the following information as part of the question. So it will ask you the year, which is the reporting year. They will ask you to put the number or enter the number of your uh, gross global scope 2 emissions in metric tons CO2. If they are not in metric tons, if they are in just CO2, you can convert it into metric tons, right? Now, what does gross means here? Gross means that you should not deduct anything, which means you should not take into consideration your carbon credits or offsets. You just report the emissions as a result of your activities, or as a result of, in case of scope 2, as a result of all the electricity used by your organization, right? So gross global scope 2, location based, market based, then end date is not activated for this, so that is okay, you don't need to provide anything here. And your methodological detail. So what is the methodology of calculating these GHG2 emissions, scope 2 emissions, right? And past year one, and it can have many past year. It is up to you. It depends on how, you know, data of how many previous years is present is available within your organization. Just to show an example, I've just taken one row, past year one. So you have to provide the same information your last year, and here, and you have to provide the end date also, because it's a past year, the year has ended, right? So this is the question. Now you have a attached scoring criteria here, or it's a separate document, but yes, you have a defined scoring criteria for this question, which says full disclosure points must be awarded in the following questions to be eligible for disclosure points of 7.7, which means if you want disclosure points, if you want the score for 7.7, you should have disclosed 7.1, 7.1.1, 1.2. So these are all the questions: 7.1, 1.1.1, 7.1.2, 7.1.3, 7.2, 7.4, and 7.5. So you should answer all the question if you want to be eligible to be able to get score for 7.7, right? So this is the first criteria. And all these questions, they are dealing with base year, reporting methodology, other type of questions which are related to 7.7. That's why this is the criteria. If you have missed any of these questions, you're not eligible for the score of 7.7, right? Now, this is criteria 1, done. You have answered all these questions also. Now, coming to 7.7, points will be awarded for row reporting year as follows. Row reporting year is your this row, right? Reporting year. Route A, there are different routes. Different route means for each route you have different points. It's up to you. It's up to the maturity of your systems, processes, availability of data, which route you will select, right? So route A says all of the following columns are completed. Following columns are this: gross global scope 2, location based and market based. So you should report both location based and market based. In module 2, sorry, in module 3, we calculated both location based and market based. So we have, both the points. We have these 2 points. And methodological details, you can easily provide methodology, right? You know the methodology, you calculated the numbers, you know the sources, you know the emission factor sources also, you know which are the sites which are in scope, your organizational boundary, you have all these details, which means you have complete methodology. So you can answer on all these three. But what do you need to provide? So what happens is, For methodological details, you have basis of reporting. We have discussed about basis of reporting, reporting methodology. You will provide that. That's as the evidence or the supporting document. Now, CDP timelines are such, it starts from say March or April, and you report your year-end data, your annual data by March or April, right? So you can easily have the assured data. You've already get all this, greenhouse gas emissions data assured by independent third party, which has the highest level of assurance, considered as highest level of assurance, obviously, because it is independent in CDP. So you can provide the certificate which shows that your data is assured, your data is, audited, and you can that can serve as the evidence, right? So you have all these details. So you will get 2 out of 2 points, right? So you will get complete points, 8 out of 8, highest. So these are the points visible to the company or disclosed organization, but this is how their scoring works, and we will see how, right? So you will get complete points. Route B, you report gross global scope to location based and methodological. So you don't have market based emissions, right? You don't have market based emissions, which means you're not using either RECs or REGOs or renewable energy certificates, or you don't have the data. So you will get half, 4/8, 1/1. It says this is the, 1 point is the uh, is the highest point that you can get, right? In simplified terms, you will get 4 out of 8 points, so half of route A. Then if you go to route C, which is again, the maturity is even lower. You have market-based emissions, if applicable, and methodological details, then you will just get 1/8. You will just get 1/8. And market based, if you don't have location based, then it's I don't know how you will have market based emissions, but if since you have disclosed something, you will get 1 out of 8 points. And route D, right? You are not disclosing, not the location based, not the market based, because you don't have any of these, you cannot disclose the methodology, which means that you will not get any points. So this is how the scoring methodology works, right? Now there's two more definitions of people involved in this. One is your submission lead, which is the primary contact and responsible person. So you will, as a submission lead, you are responsible for, whole and soul of the CDP reporting, CDP disclosure for your organization. You will be the point of contact, and you will be acting as an interface between CDP and the contributors. Who are contributors? Contributors are users who are contributing in this project, because you don't have all the information, right? These are all stakeholders. Somebody from maybe sustainability team, from EHS team, from legal team, right? If their involvement is needed, from supply chain needed, so you need, supply chain team. So you will what will happen is internally you will discuss, right, your stakeholder engagement, stakeholder interactions, and then you will identify the correct person, a person who may have or who might have played the same or similar role last year, or maybe a new person. But yes, you will discuss with the boss or head of the team that yes, this is the requirement, we need a person who can act as a contributor, who knows about the data, who has all this data and analytics, right? For this is the data, supply chain related data, or EHS related data, right? Or finance, or that kind of data, right? So they will be acting as contributors, but you are the lead and you have highest access, right? You will be the one as submission lead who will submit your organization's responses finally to CDP. CDP will also contact you. CDP will take your support. You will take CDP support. So you are the interface, right? You can add users, you can delete users, you can change the submission lead if you want. And these are the different situations. Once you work in the tool, you will get to know about it, right? And then we have your step-by-step summary. When a company is requested to disclose, what will happen, right? So the company, you are the submission lead, or you are the person who has been entrusted this responsibility. You have the email, right? Your boss has entrusted you. What you will do is you have the login details, right? You are you log into the CDP portal. You will confirm your role. Most probably, you will be the submission lead. You are leading the project. You have complete control, admin access of the portal. The right. Then you will review the request. Some other company has requested. You will see who has requested, what are the themes which have been requested at this stage. At all the stages, you will do internal stakeholder management, engagement, right? You will discuss with your boss, your team, and affected stakeholders, right? Involved stakeholders, because this will be done as part of the project, or if it is in the BAU phase, if it is not done for the first time, then even in the BAU phase, somebody will get the responsibility, right? And he is the boss. So continuous internal stakeholder engagement is needed, and it takes place. But yes, you will review the request, you will see who has requested, themes, select disclosure themes. So if all the three themes have been requested to for you to disclose on, then you will select those, right? And then you will pay the fee if it is applicable. Most probably it will be. Then you will have to pay the fee, right? In dollars, whatever be the current amount, and then you will accept the CDP terms and all that. So these are the sort of you can say uh, I mean these are the things that you need to do before you start working on the questionnaire, right? So you accept the CDP terms, and then you begin working on the questionnaire. You understand the questionnaire, you will see, you discuss among your team, or the team which is responsible for CDP reporting, that yes, this is these are the questions we have to report on. Now, these questions are pertaining to EHS. This is for supply chain. You will identify all the stakeholders. You will, connect with them, do the call. So you will be given time as per CDP time for you to identify stakeholders and do all that stuff, and then you start working on. You can add contributors. You will give them, they will also have they will also have access to their interface for the questions they are responsible, so you will make them responsible, and they will provide their data. And you can also download all the scoring methodology documents and maybe other documents which are needed, which will aid you, which will help you, right? Now, another case, if nobody has requested you, you can do it as a self, you can volunteer. Your company can volunteer and disclose. So you will go to, there's a form, disclose, register to disclose. You can fill the form, right? Then you will receive an email from CDP. You have to pay the fee, right? And you also have to select which themes you want to report on: climate, water, forest, based on your materiality, right? You can choose the disclosure plan. Initially, if you think that you don't have, mature data, you can start with essential, and then you can move on to other advanced level of disclosures. Then you accept the terms and conditions, and then you start the process, right? You will have to follow the timelines. So there are strict timelines that you have to follow. Now, this is the timeline for 2025. They publish it on their platform. These are all public. So March 31, the process starts, and by March 31, most of the companies, they've already, done the annual reporting, their ESG integrated reporting. So they have all the data for the previous year. So, right. So March 31, you will get the guidance, the questionnaires are published. You will get your questionnaires. Then after, say, 1 month, your scoring methodology will also be published. So in this 1 month, March 31 to April 28, you can identify all your stakeholders, etc. Right? You can do the planning, all the planning. Then scoring methodology is published, and also submission deadlines by requesters. Now, what will happen is, if you are requested, then you will most probably be requested in the month of June, or before that, even before that, right? So a requester, they have a deadline of June 9 to prepare their list and request the for reporting. to the disclosing companies. Then response window opens on June 18th. So response, you can start submitting the response on CDP portal from June 18th. Although before June 18th, you can prepare your responses within the team inside, internally in the organization. And then September 17 is the scoring deadline, and November 17 is the final deadline. So they work as per the strict timelines. Now they have changes in CDP reporting, which we have already discussed. They have an integrated questionnaire which combine all the three themes, but separate scores are awarded, right? So you will get three different scores for climate, water, and forest, and it depends on the modules, right? So they make the changes from last year to this year, not many changes in their forms and anything. Now, CDP scores and insights, just some insights that 24 around 25,000 companies they responded on climate change. On water, only 6,000 companies approx they responded on water, and for forest the number is very less, and it's this is based on the materiality. Only 2% of the companies achieve an A rating. Only 8 companies earned a triple A in all these three themes, right? So, I mean, it's a great feat if you're achieving this. 112 cities in 75 states, they were awarded an A. And 22.7 thousand companies, 22,700 companies were scored overall. So maybe some companies they did not respond at the first place and was report were scored on an F, right? So these are the uh, sorry, these are the insights which I wanted to provide, and we will cover these examples say in the next video, right? So thank you.